special and big step in their lives and who've been conferred with their degrees. To me, the symbolism or the analogy perhaps is of being on a springboard where you've been practicing for a while to take the small jumps and today to take the big leap forward. Because today you acquired a new additional capacity to lead. I gather that 3 out of 4 of you who are graduating today have been working, and a fourth of you are entering the working profession. So most of you have had some experience at work, and therefore the working world, the world of work is not new for you. However, I'm sure that all of you have higher aspirations of yourself, particularly after getting this degree, and we have higher expectations from you after getting this big achievement to become leaders. And I use that word very deliberately because we have executives, we have engineers, then we have managers, and then we have leaders. And in a sense, the big difference between being a manager who manages and optimizes the resources and a leader is that the leader maximizes the potential of the human resource. And therefore, this is the phase that you are getting into, and our expectation is that you will contribute to organization building. You do your day's job, but the organization building that you do for the organization you go to is our bigger expectation. And so I was basically thinking that if I have to look back at my own life, working life, and I'm still very active in my working life, and if I had to simplify the experience that I have of a few decades now, then I want to capture that in just 4 words for you. I'll list out the word and then talk for a few seconds on each. The first word is inspiration, self-evident. The second is aspiration. Let me talk about these two before I go to the third and the fourth. We all get inspired by leaders, and we also get very inspired by nature. So great things inspire us, and if there is somebody to inspire us or something to inspire us, then our aspiration levels rise. If you have been in any sport and you had a good coach, the coach would have always told you that you're capable of jumping, if you're doing high jump, of jumping 2 feet more than you thought was possible. And if he was an inspiring coach, your own aspiration level would rise. So the inspiration and aspiration are the first 2 words I want to talk about, and I'll come back to them. The third word I want to talk about is respiration, which is breathing, but not of the lungs. This is the breathing of the mind, of having a free mind, of having fresh air for your mind. And that's the task of ideas. That's the task of the mind, to create new ideas, to have freedom of thought, to be able to challenge people's ideas, to be able to debate on those ideas, to think up new ideas and new ways. So in a sense, if inspiration and aspirations are matters of the heart, because it's about emotions. When people inspire you, you get inspired only if it's an unreasonable. If you jump 5 feet 2 inches and someone says you can jump 5 feet 3, it's not exciting. But if your coach were to say you can do 7, then the fact that it's huge and unreasonable excites you. So inspiration, aspiration is stuff of the heart. Respiration is stuff of the head. It's about ideas. It's about your mind. It's about your brain. It's about your thinking. And having therefore a mind on fire is a phrase I love to remember from my early days. A mind on fire is a mind which is free and full of good ideas and bubbling up with ideas all the time and debating and contesting. And the fourth word is perspiration, sweating it out. That's the stuff of the hand. So from the heart of the head to the hand. And perspiration, as many people have said, including Einstein, is more than 95% of the hard work. So you can have a great emotion and a great excitement and think about how will I jump 7 feet if I've only done 5. But once you're excited, you start thinking about how to do it, you get ideas. And then you have a list of ideas, and all of us know the tough part is making the ideas work. So in building an organization, you're going to be busy doing one of these 4 things. Not one at a time, but perhaps collectively. But as you're young people looking up to great leaders in your organizations, I hope and wish that you get inspiring leaders who inspire you and your aspiration levels rise. Because once your aspiration levels rise, then your leaders have to create a space, create an environment, create a culture where you can ideate and challenge other people's ideas. And of course, you have to rise to become leaders who will then become the figures who inspire others, who will then recognize that your main role as a leader is to raise the aspiration level of the members of your team, to challenge them, to let them believe they can do much more than what they think they can believe. And once people's aspirations rise, if you are a leader, then you create a culture and environment where people can debate and contest and challenge their seniors. So as a leader, you will have to make yourself vulnerable to your juniors. They shouldn't be afraid to come up and say, well, you're wrong, I have a better thought. And if they come and say that with confidence, you should say, very good, I want to listen to you. And if a senior sitting by your side says, hold on, you don't have enough experience, you have to tell them to keep quiet. And say, listen to new ideas, because the power of the idea is what takes our civilization forward. So you'll have to build a culture where young people can challenge the so-called seniors with better ideas and where the best idea wins. And building the culture in the organization to let people's mind breathe is what respiration is about. And finally, when people have many ideas, they will contest, debate and pick the one which is most workable. And then is the tough task of implementation. So those of you who've been working would have seen these at work. You would have seen that companies have a vision, they have values, they have beliefs. Those things deal with the heart. The moral values of an organization, the purpose of an organization, that inspires people, gives a sense of purpose. And therefore as leaders, remember, whatever is the little team you have, whatever project you have, look at what is the project doing to raise people's aspirations. So it's not enough to say that sales will grow 20%. That's not inspiring. But if you're dealing with any product, you have to see what does that product or service do for the end consumer, for the goodness of the end consumer, for the health of the end consumer, for the happiness of the end consumer, for lifting those who are in difficult situations. Create and find a sense of purpose in the project that you have, because only then will your followers, their aspirations rise. So building a strong vision, building a tough vision is the task of leaders, and that's the game of inspiration and aspiration. It's about vision, it's about values, it's about ethics. All of us want to do good stuff. So this is the space of the heart, and these are practices that companies use or good leaders use to create an organization with a heart, which is doing great stuff and doing good stuff. And then so far as the respiration is concerned, it's about teamwork. It's about a research environment. It's about new ideas and creating new ideas, about brainstorming, about brainwriting, about respecting, recognizing new work. And there are many practices you would know, but you should think seriously about. That if I had people in my team who are excited about the purpose, so the inspiration, aspirations happen, now how do I create a culture? How do I create a setting? So when we take people off sites, I every year handpick 15 people across our 15,000 every year, and I do 3 conferences with them. One in Delhi, one somewhere in Bhutan or somewhere in the mountain, and another one somewhere near the sea. It's all 3 or 4 days, 3 days where 15 to 18 people think up great ideas, work through these conferences, propose from conference to conference what that idea can do. They get a chance to work with the leaders, other leaders, but they're young people pushing the boundaries of existing ideas. So there are very many ways and mechanisms and practices which you should learn and build to help people in the organization get the ideas out of their heads with excitement. And finally, the part about perspiration. Like the American phrase goes, where the rubber hits the road, where you beat reality. That is the area, for example, of quality management, ISO 9000 standards, Software Engineering Institute's capability model, or Six Sigma. We hear zero defect. All these terms that we hear about the process, building reliable processes where you build predictable outcomes. And that's the difficult part. That's why we say that 95% or 98% is the perspiration. There you have to learn how to do things one step at a time, which is what you learn as you're growing in the organization. You're doing things with your own hands, working to a schedule, always being on time, being particular about detail. And so that's the whole area of respiration. And once again, there are many known methods which you should learn on your own, many you would have learned. But these 4 words for me capture, when I look back at my experience, that everything we did to build the organization, the activity could be put as the inspiring part of the role, which is the role of leaders, raising the aspiration of young people, if you're inspiring leaders, and then creating a culture where people, where ideas just pour out, contest, debate, choose, and then finally, the detail of execution. Now, of these, the stuff of the head, ideas and so on, or stuff of the hand, process capability, detail, these 2 words out of the 4 are the focus of education as we know it in the formal sense. So I take it that today's event takes you through across a threshold where your ability to deal with ideas and to create ideas or to execute them, the respiration and perspiration part, you have acquired a higher level. And education as we know it deals with these 2 words, formal education. And therefore I will not comment anymore. You've learned a lot, you can practice it. But now what I want to talk about is that part of education which has been left to chance and to our parents, to our well-wishers, and that is the education of the heart. Doesn't it surprise you when you remember your curriculum right from class 1, through till your first degree, through till now your second degree, that there was no curriculum to teach you how to train your heart. Is it not surprising? So if you were fortunate to have a set of parents who inculcated strong values in you, you are fortunate. Not everybody is fortunate. If you have a granny or a grandfather who was meticulous about some aspect of your character or character building, you are fortunate. Not everybody is fortunate. So those things happened by chance. And the focus of my second half of my talk is that if that wasn't done by design, and I think it's no surprise that if your inspiration, aspiration is not happening right, you won't get great ideas and leave alone implementing them. So the real fun and the real contribution lies in the inspiration, aspiration model, and that's stuff of the heart. So I have a method that works for me. May or may not work for you, but I'd like to share it. And again, there will be 4 words. But I title this method as Appointment with Myself. So, if you're interested, you can start setting up an appointment with yourself. I've asked hundreds, thousands of young people, do you have an appointment with yourself and they wonder what this is about. We have appointment with the doctor, we have appointment with the lawyer, we have appointment with the insurance agent. But do we have an appointment with ourselves? So if I have to teach you a formal method of educating yourself on the matters of the heart, the title of that is Appointment with Myself. And there are 4 words. And I'll share with you perhaps one way of making it work. So the first word is reflection. Reflection basically means looking back at whatever, if you want a daily cycle, a daily appointment of 5 or 7 minutes, not more at the end of the day. Step 1 is reflection. Very simply, replaying the day. Assume you had videotaped the day of your interactions with people and things, and you replayed it forward and backwards, and you looked at the key events that happened during the day, mostly in terms of interactions with people, because heart to heart is the subject I'm talking about. You will stop as you're going through the reflections of the day at moments which either made you very happy, or when you're replaying it makes you very sad, or upset, or agitated, or angry. So there's an emotion, it's not an idea. The ideas part you're educated on. So you replay your day to see what happened and keep checking the emotion for the important events of the day. So that process is reflection. That's the first word. Second word is introspection. So now you had these moments of highs and lows and anger and anxiety and tension. You know, if you do your vocabulary for thoughts, you'll have 1,000,000 words. If you list your vocabulary for emotion, you'll run out after 20 or 30 words. That's what I meant by no education on emotion. But let's say these 20 or 30 emotions, you reflected and you got those. Then you're testing out each of those moments with your internal judgment of what is good and bad. Your own ethical framework, your moral compass as we call it. And you may say, okay, you had that argument with the person and you didn't feel very good. So introspection is about stopping at that part of the videotape and saying, okay, now what really happened here? Was I right in saying what I did? Was that person right or not? And you're then introspecting, thinking deeply that, oh, I don't think this is what I should do. I don't feel proud about having been rude. Or I felt very good about it, and you feel excited that you did something which you thought was ethically correct or was brilliant or whatever. So introspection is stopping at a point in the reflection process and thinking very deeply, or feeling very deeply, thinking not the right word here, and engaging with your feeling at that moment. So this is emotional training going on, as I said. And introspection gets you to become aware of what you believe is right or wrong. So when we all said we should have values, human beings are generally brought up to be good, but our experiences may treat us otherwise. But if you stop, think deeply, that I said this to someone, I didn't feel good about it, that person must have been hurt, because this had happened to me, I was on the receiving end of it, and I was deeply hurt. So should I do something about this? So then, introspecting and educating yourself by taking that feedback about yourself in the appointment with yourself to do some development. And third step after reflection and introspection is determination. You decide that I will not let this happen to me, or this was very good, you should repeat more of this. Determination is also an emotion. And so determination gets you to figure out that from the day that has gone by, what is it you picked up as things to work upon? And then the last word, of course, is action. You may do next day. If you're reflecting at the end of the day, you may do something before you sleep. Like they say, if you're angry with somebody, particularly somebody very close to you, don't sleep before you've settled it. Either by apologizing or by praising or whatever. So this 5 or 7 minute exercise, doesn't take longer than that, is the equivalent of 18 or 20 years of education that you've done to sharpen your mind or to improve your skills, as we call it. your thought processes. But this 4 words of reflecting, introspecting, building a determination, acting, you do a continuous cycle of this, 5 to 7 minutes every day. Then you build a mechanism or a method or a process to do emotional development, which was denied to you by the formal system. But the beauty of it is this is learning in your own control. You don't need anybody for this. You can, of course, talk to a confidant or someone close to you to say, I was feeling terrible about this. Go to your father, mother, friend and say, I was feeling very good about this, or I was feeling terrible about this, and sense out what they have to say. And in my view, real personal growth in your own control can start with something as simple as an appointment with yourself. So practice this little method of appointment with yourself, and you don't need any more degrees, any more titles, which are given to you by your peer group and your teachers as they set you off into the world now to manage yourself and to grow continuously from executives to managers to leaders. So coming back to my analogy of the springboard on a swimming pool, all of us have done the lowest level and the higher level and the higher level. So life actually will offer you springboards at different heights throughout. The first few, the school graduation class 10 and 12, first degree, second degree, and for some, the PhD, those were built by society so that everybody knows where you took your springboard from. That takes you that far. Now, in a sense, you're on your own. And I tried to give you a little formula which will give you a new springboard every day. And I sincerely hope that you will continue to go from height to height, and then you keep taking leaps from greater and greater heights and truly become leaders who can inspire other people so that their aspirations can rise. And then you create a culture that people can think freely, think wide ideas. And then you build a discipline where those ideas are put into action to get zero defect and put to get benefit to society. So all the very best and have a great future.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring convocation address. I now request Mr.